Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge.
All right, ready? I turn, you press start. It's next to the preheater.
He's downplaying his excitement. The lieutenant is more than happy to show off his precious carriage. The dashboard lights up with orange glow. The rounds per minute gauge jumps, and the engine of the Caprice Canadian comes to life with a whiny growl. The lights unfold with a little click, casting electrical light onto the ground before the vehicle.
There you go. I'll turn them off from the remote once you're done. We just need to stand in front of the machine now.
As you hold your ledger's clip under the headlamp, an iridescent hologram appears. A street grid and the veins of a great river. A familiar sensation washes over you.
There she is, Revachol West.
Around the borders of the watermark are dozens, no, hundreds of micro-perforations. The rectangular watermark is overlaid with the logo of the RCM, and yet the major arteries of Revachol are all recognizable. They shimmer in the Kanema's headlights.
Let me see. Right here. It has its problems.
There are many of them, and they are divided into 3 separate rows. The first row has 18 dots. Not bad for what? You don't even know what it means yet. The next is the longest. It runs all the way around the border, and then some. You count 216 perforations. Considering that nice, large number, a wave of pride washes over you, though you can't say why precisely. The last row has 3 perforations. That's it.
Those are perforations. They represent your record as an officer of the RCM. They are your statistics, as it were. I should have guessed you'd keep a record. Officers often do. Let's take a look.
Alpha male officers who are proud of their numbers often do. It's meant.
The first row represents your years of service. 18 years. Okay, not bad at all. What did you do before you volunteered? That's what it says. I might have guessed even longer based on your age. What did you do all those blissful years of your youth? Yes, that does seem quite likely. Your youth coincided with some heady days for Revachol. But let's move on, shall we? This next row, the one that wraps all the way around, is your number of closed cases. Closed is good. It means finished. You've got, wow, more than 200. It's quite a lot, even for someone who's been on the force for nearly 2 decades. Usually, clearing more than 10 cases a year puts you in the 90th percentile of all RCM officers. Call it what you want. You are a valuable member of your precinct. Now, let's look at the last row. Right. Those are your confirmed kills. You've got precisely 3 perforations there. For an RCM officer, especially Precinct 41, which is in the Jamrock quarter, it's rather tame. I mean that in a good way. There are certain officers who treat their kills like some kind of ghoulish game. If they do happen to solve a case, it's usually by accident. But it seems as though you are, or at least were, one of the good ones. So we have that to be thankful for. Yes.
It's not a problem for him to state it, however.
Everyone has their own method of coping, some more effective or self-destructive than others. Personally, I find it helps to keep up a few hobbies. Why not gardening? You've already got the gloves.
It's meant in earnest. Please don't mistake it for a jab. The lieutenant nods.
Right. I'll go turn off the lights.
It's the ledger you found in the trash. A cabbage of papers hanging from the board, with the permeables drawer inside. It's barely held together by a clip, then made complete by the faint smell of urinal cleaner. They're not exactly white. They're yellowed in patches by sunlight and alcohol, and covered in dense blue handwriting. Ink escapes into watercolor patterns, reaching its tendrils across entire pages. The paper itself is checkered, with faint red lines, forming short paragraphs. Once in a while, there's a red stamp that exclaims, "Case files commit to paper." The case files themselves are plenty. You count more than 100 sodden, crumpled up, earmarked pages falling apart in your hands. They appear to be sufficiently organized and extremely dense, if mostly illegible. Work, strife, poverty, the Jamrock Quarter. These are handwritten logs of investigations dating back to January 51, this year. The exact number is hard to estimate due to missing pages and an odd naming convention. But there are at least 20, maybe 30 cases undertaken, not completed, mind you. It's the middle of March. You have attempted 2 cases a week on average.
Huh? 2 complex cases to undertake is a lot, yes. You really have to push yourself. I would not suggest it, lest you start making mistakes. That's a lot. This kind of case load would explain your solved cases tally on the watermark. I didn't mean to say you are making mistakes, by the way. That was presumptuous of me. It's okay. We all make mistakes.
Like a fan of gills, the checkered papers dry in your hand. The handwriting is extremely dense, if mostly illegible. Yes, it appears you employ a, shall we say, robust yet literary system. Each investigation has its case number written on the margins. Yet, still more tellingly, most are accompanied by a name. A title, one might say even. One that draws inspiration from snoop fiction and vespertine cop show staples. Yes, all caps. One is called The Next World Mural. Another, The Square Bullet Hole Murders. Another yet, The Unsolvable Case. Others appear more light-hearted. The guys on a couch in an unexpected location, and the murder at the Uka Parlor. Even the rare article-free collapsing tenement. Murder features prominently throughout. It's going to take an effort to piece these case files together, but it can be done. Once you're done inspecting them up close.
You mean the alphanumeric? Officer, precinct, time of arrival at the scene? Oh, you mean the titular? Yes, well, so do I. In our defense, almost everyone in the RCM does. It's a holdover from the early days of the RCM, right after the revolution, when the organization had little idea how to do things. It persists in an unofficial capacity. Officers use these titles to refer to their work among themselves. Again, in your defense, I seem to have named one the man with the hole in his head. That was a real person. His death was real. Still, I named it that, to amuse myself. I pray his loved ones never find out. Rail spiked through the head. He died. It was a workplace accident.
There is, for precisely one more. 15 pages near the end remain untouched by the damage. The checkered grid forms a structure of passages, breaking the case into subtasks to accomplish. Once all the tasks are accomplished, the case is complete. The tasks you've completed flow out of the kind green ape pen in a brash freehand similar to the rest of the letters. The wording comes easily. It's almost robotically simple, a language developed for mental rigor and simplicity. Inspect the victim's body. Get the body down. Interview the cafeteria manager. It's not exactly poetry, but poetry would be out of place. A satisfying slash sounds across the paper. You're done, it seems to say. And you, and you. Things to be done and things already done. The composition of reality. This is an extremely useful tool for a detective of the citizens' militia. Now all that remains is to name the case.
No, actually. Any ideas? Great. That's great. That's actually what I was thinking too. The Hanged Man. Good, strong name. We have a very good name for the case now. I'm going to start calling it the Hanged Man. It's good we sorted this out.
don't exactly close them, so much as distance yourself from the smelly papers. They're a little further from your nose now. Yes, you can piece them together using the alphanumeric code on the margin. It always begins with HDB41, then date of initialization and time of arrival on the scene, followed by the title. For example, HDB 41120111700, the next world mural. Why, yes, your precinct number is 41. Every last alphanumeric in the files begins with it, and these are your case files. It's safe to say HDB are your initials. That is improbable. It takes about half an hour to piece one together using the system you've devised. Where do you want to start? Not much has changed in the meanwhile. A bunch of sodden papers still sags from the clipboard. In the back, you see thin, translucent copier paper, some neon yellow, some bright red, all covered in boxes, like marching armies. These look like official forms waiting to be filled out. Then rip them from the binder and hand them out, according to type of form. 3. The topmost are misconduct fines, the middle ones are station calls, and the bottommost are field autopsy forms. Each is easy enough to make sense of. You don't have to be an intellectual giant to do police work. A monetary penalization ranging from 20 to 250 real. Severe cases allow for 1,000 real. But that requires special paperwork. The details of issuing these fines are spread out over the rest of the fields, but they appear pleasantly vague. These are quite sinister in turn. They give a date and time for the person to appear at the specified precinct police station. Below the call are the criminal charges you risk by not appearing. A dozen pages of thin copy paper, bright red in color. You see the parameters of a deceased human form waiting to be filled in. Age, sex, condition of internal organs. Yes, all that remains now is to fill those forms and hand them to people. Fines for wrongdoers, interview requests for bad guys, and field autopsies to dead guys. The rest of the stinking cellulose is much worse for wear. Being sandwiched between the board and the rest of the paperwork must have spared the fragile copier paper. The acidic stench of rotting food is rubbed off on the cellulose. It now forms the base of the experience. This base surrounded by a faint air of spoiled meat, the stuff of death itself, and then sprinkled liberally with the citrus zest of toilet cleaner. Arson, petty theft, spousal abuse. Handwritten logs on dozens of investigations date back to January 51. Stamped case files, commit to paper. These are your last couple of months in Revachol, Precinct 41, Jamrock Quarter. You don't exactly close them, so much as distance yourself from the smelly papers. They're a little further from your nose now. lonesome, long way home. Here we go. Home awaits. Walk past Station 41 and through the market, past the Boogie Street spearhead to the other side of the lake, the frozen eye at the center of the district. Then past the video rental store on the corner. There, at the end of a street lined with pine trees, a small house no larger than a matchbox. 11 Voyager Road. You no longer live there. Those times are gone. And so are those people. Why did you come here? Why are you still here? And where's the dealer? You have to get back to work. That's all you have now.